exposure to music at an early age, was Frank Sinatra, because they were rehearsing in the living room playing covers of Frank and all these stuff. So I had a very strange upbringing in that way, but it's served me well, because it's made me look at music maybe in a different way than some others might. This argument of what it is and what it shouldn't be and all this, all I can tell you is here we sit 11 years later after losing Chris Squire.
Hey, this is Sebastian from the Metal Gods Meltdown. Today I am joined by...
Oh, sorry, that's me, Billy Sherwood. Who are we joined by? Oh, that's right, that's me. Billy Sherwood. Nice to be here, thank you.
It's great to be chatting today. So can you then tell us what was the exact moment the album AURORA stopped being an idea and became a living organism breathing down your neck?
It starts with writing, and so, we know we want to make a record, and we kind of all go to our own studios and start putting together ideas that we're going to present in a large pool of music that ends up being. So that's how it starts, really. And that started, I'd have to look at a calendar because it's such a blur of time and space, the human construct and all that. But not too long ago, a couple of years, I guess now, maybe somewhere back there.
Cool. So how excited are you about this album, and is there any surprises on it for listeners?
I mean, Yes music is always surprising, the way that the band twists and turns with arrangements and sound and instruments and melody. So all those things combined make up for, what I would call like a movie for your ears. It takes you on a ride. It's quite cool, especially in headphones or Atmos, which you can hear as well.
Amazing. So for you personally then, do you see music as architecture, therapy, ritual, or something else entirely?
Wow, it's kind of, I would describe them in all those ways that you did, and it's very individualized, of course. But in a band like Yes, it's interesting how those individual musical ideas that we do put into the pool, sort of they start gelling together and making that je ne sais quoi, as they say, and you start knowing that. But yeah, it's always been so many things to me. Yes music. It's touched on many emotions, and you can go from very subtle, lovely, beautiful things to the middle of Gates of Delirium that sounds like it's an absolute war going on, and everything in between. And I guess that's what always attracted me to this kind of music, and to Yes in particular.
So talking about this kind of music then, do you ever like or wish you'd, when you were younger, done a bit more heavier work, like a bit more maybe even heavy metal in your Well,
I mean, it's a funny career path I've had, because I'm the son of a big band jazz leader, Bobby Sherwood.
Right.
When his parents were in vaudeville, my mother was in Broadway and singing. So I'm from that musical background where my exposure to music at an early age, was Frank Sinatra, because they were rehearsing in the living room playing covers of Frank and all these stuff. So I had a very strange upbringing in that way, but it's served me well, because it's made me look at music maybe in a different way than some others might. Because for me, it's all music. It's just my career path. I was so bumped by when I saw Yes the first time in my mental trajectory of what I'm like, that's where I want to go, that kind of thing. From the going for the One concert in '77, that I went into that lane. And while I have an appreciation and love for all music, it's the lane I just was drawn to and stayed into. That said, in my production career, as I got older, started producing bands, I produced Motorhead, and you can't really get much more hardcore than that. But I understood it. It was a strange pairing. I just finished the Paul Rodgers record, and I got asked to go in there and do that with Motorhead. And, strange pairing, but I understand music and sound and the vibe that things are bringing to the table. So, the right textures and kind of tones of things. So it's all under one big umbrella of music for me. I'm fortunate that I've done that. I produced Rat's Steel River record, which was pretty heavy, maybe not as heavy as Motorhead, but, so I've been in those arenas in different ways as well, and it's cool. I mean, I love all music.
Yes, I've always been like sort of really famous about the album artwork and that. Is there a hidden meaning buried in this album's artwork?
I mean, none that I'm aware of, and I think it's an interpretation that comes to the individual, like it always has with Yes Music. You know, when you listen to Tales from Topographic Oceans and you look at the cover and you're taken to somewhere you don't even know where you're going, but you're there, and it's in your own. And so it's that kind of journey which adds to the whole experience. I think Roger's so amazing at what he does, of course. And he's a lovely guy. I've gotten to know him quite well on the road because he comes out with us quite often.
Yeah.
And, you know, I call him he's like the sixth member of the band. So yeah, his art's amazing. And people will look at it and listen to something and they'll start seeing things that maybe are there or maybe they're not intended, but maybe they are. But, you know, there's subtleties in there in that way. I think it's quite cool.
So how pleasing for you then as an artist is it for you to see vinyl make such a resurgence? Because that's like the album artwork is part of it, isn't it? And that's the journey. Yeah. Spotify is not the journey. So how important is that for you to see that still going?
Well, I mean, I think it's wonderful because, yeah, we grew up with all that. And for us, we know the value of what that did to the music we listened to growing up. I mean, when you heard Wall the first time and you opened up the cover, you were like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know, because of Gerald Scarf's artwork involved with the way the music was and the interpretation. So I think for those reasons, it enhances the art, which is the music, you know, at the core of it. But it enhances the entire piece of work as an art piece, really. You know, I mean, I wrote to Steve just the other day and said, you know, you've produced a really beautiful piece of art.
Yeah.
And I mean, encompassing the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's quite lovely.
Amazing. So, at your home, do you have a lot of the album artwork covered your walls, or
you know, between about age 12 until I started working with the band, I had the posters and stuff up. Yeah. Now I kind of collect posters from the tours that we do, and I have a few of them up that are important to me, milestone ones.
Yeah.
As I'm working at my place in Vegas, I look at these posters and they span quite a distance, you know, over the calendar.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a wide array of being around this thing. Those are the kind of things I'll put up in my pad.
Great. What would you say then has been the heaviest weight of carrying the Yes legacy, and what part still feels like pure magic for you as starting off as a fan as well, more importantly?
Yeah, which is I don't really feel a weight per se.
Right.
I sort of feel like an honor and a privilege and a sort of deserved spot here after all this time that has passed and these many decades now, that it just feels natural to do it. And I know that the fans, you know, are there supporting it in such a way that sort of slingshots back on us, and it's inspiring to push it and to keep going, you know. And we do it for the love of the art and making music, and it just so happens that there's 5 people who do that together. When that comes together, it's a whole other thing. But at its core, we just love doing what we're doing and just want to carry on pushing forward without the worry of the weight and the legacy, because you're never going to remake Close to the Edge, are you? You know what I mean?
Push it up, no.
I mean, the minute you go in thinking, okay, just like Close to the Edge, we've got to have this, that, and the other, it's like you've sunk the song out of the gate. So there's no point. Never been thinking like that ever. So we don't know what comes next. We just know we want to go, and we don't know what kind of music we'll write next, but we know that when the combination happens, it's a go. And the touring cycles have been amazing. The fans have been amazing. They've been doing really well. And so, you know, just pushing forwards in all areas, very optimistically. I mean, I'm an optimistic person by nature, but I've always had that belief that Yes will go on for quite a long time. The sad part is, you know, my returning after losing Chris there in 2015. It's 11 years later now, which is quite something. But he wanted us to go forward. We had long conversations about that idea. And Alan, the same with Jay. And, that for me is like become a personal thing, mission statement to keep going, you know what I mean? And just keep going. So as long as the fans are supporting it and we have that mindset, we're in for the long run here,
Absolutely.
Which is inspiring in itself to think about.
That sort of brings me into my next question. I'm going to go on about the tour, on about the tour in a bit, but I must ask you this. I've interviewed Jeff, John, and now yourself. When I first started posting John's interview and that, haters are going to hate. Everyone has haters, right? But how annoying, or does it frustrate you that some so-called Yes fans from back in 1970 say this isn't Yes, blah blah blah, this is a tribute band? Does that ever affect you guys as a band, or you just brush it off because you're keeping the music alive? And that's my answer to it all. You're keeping that music alive. You're not a tribute band. You are Yes.
Well, I mean, for me, I don't think about it in any other terms than I'm involved with the band Yes for so many decades now, and I can point to the Union album, the Talk Tour, producing Keys to Ascension 1, 2, Open Your Eyes, The Ladder. I mean, they're Yes records, right? I mean, they're that's what they are, right? So how did I go from that, being a band member, to all of a sudden excommunicated, if you will, back into being that just doesn't compute to me. So I don't see the logic in the thinking there. And I'm aware of bands and their histories, and we could talk about many of them, and I know the inner workings. I do know this one the best because I've been around it for so long. I'm the only one who's played with so many different lineups that the fans love. I mean, 90125 was pretty successful. I went on tour with 94. The classic lineup without Rick, obviously, with Igor, but there's that. And you've producing it. I mean, I've got the medals and the scars to prove that it's tribute. What? So I don't really pay much attention to it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's funny to talk about it now because I don't really think about it. I'll tell you though, the thing.
The main reason I brought it up is because I just got a bit of grief on a few Facebook groups. I was like, do one, that's the only reason.
A lot of people don't, and to be fair, a lot of people don't know because I just didn't have the time to bother. I was obsessed with Yes. I'm sure you have your ways, and so I know the histories and where the links come in and how things and why things are the way they are. Yeah. For instance, I had a person send me a message because my Facebook page and stuff. He contacts me, and he says, "Listen, man, I feel really bad, and I just want to." Basically, the sentiment was, "I feel really bad, and I just want to get this off my chest. I've been just slamming you online forever." I didn't know your history. I went and looked and everything, and I realized you were there. You were this, that, and the other within the history of the band, and I want to apologize, and I'll never do it again, kind of thing. And I wrote to him. I said, "Man, listen, I don't lose sleep over this stuff, but I really appreciate the fact that you reached out, because you went and looked into the band's history and you figured it out. It's like coming to a movie at the last 15 minutes and saying, this movie is horrible. What's happening here?" So I really appreciated the fact that he kind of, not only kind of in his own mind on his end thought, "Oh, I got this wrong," but reached out to me. Yeah. And I said, "I hope to see you at the next Yes show." And he's like, "I'll be there." So I take comfort that the band's legacy and the fan base will sort out whatever they need to, but we'll be there making records and touring. And this argument of what it is and what it shouldn't be and all this, all I can tell you is here we sit 11 years later after losing Chris Squire.
Exactly.
That was on my radar, not something any of us thought would happen. I thought he'd outlive us all, but here we are 11 years later. I mean, really, so that argument is at that point too. It's like, oh my God, I just want to sometimes say, don't you have anything else to do? I mean,
exactly.
You're investing here.
Exactly. I agree.
The earth is not flat. You know what I mean? I hate to break the news to you.
I know.
When you see that.
It's the wonders of the internet, as our dear Prime Minister is finding out today. Yeah.
Well, the thing is too, and I respect people's opinions to feel however they want to, as long as it doesn't get nasty and personal. But the top layer stuff doesn't bother me. But the one thing that does bother me is the whole notion where I'll see sometimes, Yes should have stopped when Chris Squire died, and that kind of upsets me. I don't respond to all when I see that kind of thing out there. It's far and few between, but it's still out there. It upsets me because, I wrote to one guy one day. I said, look, man, this is what Chris wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying stop, but Chris actually said, no, go. So who should I listen to, you or Chris?
Chris, 110%. Yeah.
So again, the argument is so crazy that so I don't go there. I don't really bother with it. It doesn't bother me. It's annoying as we sit here and speak of it, but it's not like I wake up thinking about this stuff. I got so much other stuff to deal with.
Absolutely. Well, you are still going strong. And what do you think then Chris would make of the new AURORA album?
I think he would really like it. Alan as well. Because the bass parts I know are really adventurous and melodic, and the compositions of them are really interesting. I tried to sort of make it as interesting as I could along the way, and I know Chris's head. We were so close in what we did in Yes, outside of Yes, with Conspiracy, working together, just sitting noodling on his couch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With two basses, and so I know he would be digging. You know what I mean? And Alan, by the same token, Jay's kind of brought the feeling of Alan's spirit in there. But it's definitely Jay, because I've known Jay forever, and I can hear his works. And I can feel his Alan influence in there, which, bless him. I mean, that's, for me, a great thing to have. As I try to bring the spirit of Chris with me, I'm not going to negate that. I'm going to lean into it. So, yeah, I think they would both really, really dig it.
What about going out on a tour then? Obviously, this tour has been rescheduled.
Yeah.
What can the fans expect when you do hit the stage?
Well, I mean, in September, we're going to Japan, and that is still within the cycle of this tour that we've done, right? And then we've got plans for more tours coming up. So whenever you do this kind of maneuver, and you have to, because when life is life, and you got to deal with stuff as it happens.
Yeah.
It does put a little bit of a spanner in the works, figuring out how to readdress it. I mean, sadly, the ultimate example of that is when we didn't do the Relayer tour due to the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
Because I not only sad because the fans didn't get to hear it and we didn't do it, but it took so long for me to sit there and get it all together.
Yeah.
And I saved Sound Chaser to the end because that's the trickiest one,
Yeah.
I really got it down, and that's when the phone rings. It's like, hey, by the way, we got a problem here. So I can't really say how that's going to pan out, and I don't want to be the guy who says something here that doesn't pan out. So I just don't know yet,
Okay. You have a massive fan base in Japan. What's it like being there on tour? You're worshipped as gods, yeah?
Well, I mean, I've been going there for quite a while now with Yes, and the fans are always super amazing, super respectful, very kind, and really into the music, and still are. I mean, we end up doing quite well there, and it's just such a unique and cool experience to go over there and do it. I remember one experience I had on the last tour. I was out having a smoke backstage before the sound check where they load in. And this sort of kid walks past me. He's got to be 19, 20 years old. And he's got a bag of records, and he's got his Yes shirt on. I can tell he's going to the box office, So I stop and I start joking and say, going to the Yes show tonight, are you? And he turns around and looks at me and goes, oh my God, Billy. I'm like, hey, what's up? So we had this conversation, right?
Yeah.
And I said, so how did you find Yes? You look like you're 19, 20. Yeah, I'm 20, whatever. How did you discover Yes? Because it's not easy to find if your friends don't know about it, kind of thing. And he said, well, I was playing Grand Theft Auto and heard this song, Owner of a Lonely Heart, and I loved it, into the whole thing. And I just die hard, now. And so he had his bag of records. He pulled them out, and he was asking me to sign the Ladder and other records that he brought to sign and stuff. And I thought, wow, what an interesting way to get it. I got it, as I explained earlier, from my brother was the guy who turned me on to all my music that I did.
Yeah.
He turned me on Close to the Edge. So, that's how it happened for me. In this day and age, with the attention spans being who they are, it's for him to discover it and listen to it. And I guess you have to listen to GTA when you're driving around. takes you forever to get to the mission point.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a really funny entry point into becoming a Yes fan, you know?
Absolutely. What about your tour rider then? I mean, your tour riders would have changed dramatically, I'm guessing, from the early days, yeah?
Yeah, it used to be much more crazy, let's just say. Now I've got it down to, like, you know, I'm very simple these days. Pellegrino or Perrier fizzy water, you know?
Yeah.
Orange juice and milk for the hotel, so I can have some milk in the coffee kind of thing in the morning.
Tell me about it.
Nothing really extreme and exotic. There's certainly no one pulling out green M&Ms. You know, there's none of that stuff. Yeah, pretty minimal in that regard, you know?
Is there one Yes classic song that you'd love to tear apart and rebuild from the ground up?
Oh, wow. I mean, I've played so much of everything that's in the catalog at this point that it's such a massive effort to get up to speed and to get it to that level. I don't know if I'd want to go back and rebuild anything. It's a lot of work. Sounds like a lot of work on its face. That said, I mean, if I was going to, you know, have fun and nothing else to do, Tales would be something that would be interesting, because it'd be like starting, you know, a big, massive painting on a huge canvas and just taking your time and just creating, because it's just those 4 sides and it's, you know, 4 songs. So
cool.
And it's, for me, it's the sort of real apex of the art form for Yes, you know, Tales. Some of the band don't like it even, which is shocking to me, but you know, it represents a way of thinking about music that was so free of any rules, and the artwork and everything. It's just amazing for me. That
COVID and everything. So there was so much effort put into that. Would there ever be the opportunity, do you think, to maybe do some sort of DVD around Relayer, because it never got the attention it rightly deserved?
I mean, you know, anything is possible. We're sort of in a fixed orbit, with the exception of this tour that we had to postpone here. We're in a fixed orbit where, you know, like, we do this thing. So I don't really know. Stopping to film and executing production it's a different thing to do, which, you know, I would certainly entertain the idea, but it's certainly outside of that orbit. But anything's possible, or, you know, making a tour again, who knows?
I mean, I guess the thing is, well, we're all getting older and time isn't on our side, is it? And so it's best to keep going forward rather than backwards. So yeah.
Well, there's so much to play too, and the new album and everything. We usually end up with more ideas for, you know, we putting in the song lists for potential tour stuff. But the album series keeps you pretty on point, you know, because on the Fragile tour, you know, the back half was fragile and had to be, because that's how much time it took, you know. So we'd have to see.
Okay. Could you now give me then 4 words to describe Aura?
Artistic, dynamic, magical, and wondrous.
Wondrous, yeah, definitely wondrous. Okay, so this is a bit of a tricky question. If there's a made-up song, like a totally made-up song about your personality, what would it be called?
Oh dear, that's a question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did you call? What would it be called? Live life to the fullest.
Love it. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's great. Yeah. All right. I've obviously been with Yes and in the music industry a very, very long time, but is there a point in time that you would love to go back to and start again or do it again? Like,
of my own career,
yeah,
you mean?
Yeah, your own career, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because, I mean, I believe in fate and sort of what's meant to be will be meant to be kind of thing, and it's always served me well personally and in my career.
Mm-hmm.
So if I went back, I might screw up the timeline that had my trajectory bump into Chris.
All right. Yeah.
So I don't know if I want to get in that time machine necessarily, because the natural way that it evolved from my first record, Logic, and then that band broke up. I formed World Trade with Bruce Gatti. We got signed on Polydor, signed by Derek Shulman, who later became president of ATCO, where he had Yes without John Anderson, because they were doing ABWH on Arista. Derek tells Chris, he listened to this stuff. He hears World Trade, Chris, and says, "Whoa, this is cool. Who's this guy?" Derek calls me. Chris wants to meet you. Do you want to do dinner? Yeah. Boom. Go. So all those. The thing I'm saying is, when we lost the World Trade deal, it was heartbreaking and really gut wrenching. Mm-hmm. And yeah, part of me would love to go back and change that,
right,
and make it successful and just smoke, But it's because of that heartbreak and the perseverance to keep going that guided my career in the way it did, not only with Yes, but becoming an engineer and a producer and session guy and all those things that have become what I kind of do.
Yeah.
So as I said earlier, if I got in a time machine, I might screw myself up.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute honour chatting to you, and hopefully we'll catch you on tour in England soon. Okay. Yeah. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Bye-bye.